Evan walked through the old scrapyard at the edge of the human colony. The sky was grey and silent, and broken ships rested like dead giants across the dusty ground. He was a quiet man, an engineer who liked old machines. He believed every broken thing still had a story, and sometimes a secret. Today he was looking for spare parts, but instead, something else was waiting for him. At the far corner of the yard stood an alien trader. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes kept moving like he was hiding fear inside them. In front of him stood an old spaceship, dark, scratched, and covered in dust. It looked useless, like a machine long forgotten. The trader looked at Evan and laughed softly. "Take the spaceship, human. It is worthless," he said. His voice sounded confident, but his eyes did not. They were nervous. They looked at the ship the way someone looks at a dangerous animal. Evan did not answer at first. He walked around the ship slowly. He touched the metal surface. It felt cold, but it did not feel dead. The metal was smooth and strange. It did not look like normal steel. It looked stronger, older, smarter. He scratched a small line on the hull with a tool. The line closed by itself. The metal healed like skin. Evan stopped. His heart beat faster. Ships did not do that, not even advanced human ships. He checked the ID marks and registry plates. There were none. No serial numbers, no maker code, no history in any database. It was like the ship did not exist. The alien trader looked away and pretended not to see what Evan had seen. "Worthless scrap," the alien repeated. "Take it and leave." But Evan heard fear in his voice. Why was a worthless ship guarded with fear? Why was it given away instead of sold? Something was wrong. Evan stepped closer to the fuel reservoir panel. It was sealed tight, stronger than every other part of the ship. There were marks near it, burn marks, like someone had tried to open it before and failed. He placed his hand on the metal. The ship reacted. Soft lights turned on inside the cockpit. The engines hummed for a second. The air around him felt alive. The ship was not waking up by power. It was waking up by him. Evan pulled his hand back in. Shock. He looked around the scrapyard. Nobody else noticed. The alien trader turned away. Pretending nothing had happened, Evan whispered to himself, "This ship is not worthless." He climbed inside the cockpit. Dust covered the seats, but the controls were clean. The panels glowed slowly, as if breathing. The ship knew he was there. It felt like it was watching him. He heard something, a soft voice. It did not come from outside. It did not come from speakers. It came from inside the ship, inside the walls, inside the core. The voice sounded tired, afraid, and human. "Do not let them take me," it said. Evan froze. He looked around. He was alone, yet the voice was real. It spoke again, softer this time. "As fear what I am." Evan felt a chill in his chest. The alien trader called it worthless, but this ship was alive. It was hiding something inside its fuel reservoir, something intelligent, something powerful, and someone wanted it forgotten. Outside the scrapyard, wind blew across the broken ships. The colony's sky turned darker. Somewhere far away, engines roared. Someone was coming. Evan placed his hand on the control panel again. The ship warmed under his touch. It trusted him. It chose him. He did not know why, but he knew one thing with certainty. This ship was not a gift, it was a warning, and now he was part of it. Evan returned to the ship the next morning. The scrapyard was quiet. The wind moved slowly across the broken machines, but this ship did not feel like scrap. It felt awake. It felt like he was watching him. He climbed inside again. The cockpit lights turned on the moment he touched the controls. The ship remembered him. It accepted him. It trusted him, even though he did not understand why. He looked at the sealed fuel reservoir. It was the strongest part of the ship. Every bolt around it was fused into the metal. The surface was smooth and bright, like liquid glass frozen in place. Evan spoke softly. "I want to know what you are." For a moment there was silence. Then the same soft voice returned. It sounded older now, calmer, but still tired. "You are human," the voice said. "That is why you can hear me." Evan felt a shiver run through him. He was not talking to a machine. He was talking to something living inside the ship, something that understood him. He asked slowly, "What is inside the fuel tank?" The ship did not answer at once. Instead, the walls around him glowed faintly. The floor beneath his feet vibrated. The energy moved like a slow heartbeat through the metal. Then the voice spoke again. "It is not a fuel tank." Evan stared at it, confused. Every ship needed fuel. Every engine needed power. But this was different. This was something more. The panels beside the reservoir opened by themselves. Lines of light spread across the hull. Evan watched carefully, his mind filled with questions, his heart filled with fear and curiosity together. Inside the reservoir he saw it, a bright, moving core. It was not liquid fuel. It was not gas or plasma. It looked like liquid light. It flowed and changed shape slowly, like a shining river trapped inside glass. It pulsed when he moved closer. It reacted to him, like it could feel his presence. Evan whispered, "You are alive." The voice answered, "Yes." He now understood why the aliens called the ship worthless. They could not use it. They could not control it. The core did not answer to them. It answered only to humans, the ship explained. "I was made by your kind, long ago. I am part machine and part living mind. My core is not fuel. My core is memory and power together." Evan tried to breathe slowly. His thoughts raced. This was human technology, but Earth had no records of such ships. No history spoke of living cores or self-healing hulls. This ship came from a past nobody remembered. He realized something else. The aliens did not throw this ship away. They hid it. They feared it. They feared what would happen if a human found it again. Evan looked at the glowing reservoir. The light inside moved gently, like it was alive and waiting, like it had been alone for many years, like it had been trapped in silence, hoping someone would return. He asked quietly, "Why me?" The voice replied, "You listened." Before Evan could ask more, the lights inside the cockpit flickered. The ship grew tense. The air became heavy. The core pulsed faster, like a heart beating in fear. The voice spoke urgently, "They have found us." Evan turned toward the scrapyard entrance. In the distance, engines roared. Shadows moved across the sky. Ships were approaching fast. They were not traders. They were not visitors. They were hunters. The alien who gave the ship away had lied. He never wanted to get rid of it. He wanted to keep humans away from it. But now it was too late. The ship whispered, "They will try to destroy me." Evan placed his hand on the control panel. The ship warmed again. It calmed under his touch. It trusted him. He knew he had a choice. Walk away and stay safe, or stay inside and face whatever was coming. He took a breath. He stayed outside. The hunters landed. The real danger had just begun. The sky above the scrapyard turned dark as the ships arrived. Yvonne watched from inside the cockpit. His hands rested on the control panel. His heart was slow but heavy. The ship was silent, but it was not calm. It felt alert, awake, and threatened. 3 alien dropships landed near the yard. Their engines roared like angry beasts. Dust rose into the air. Metal plates shook under their weight. The ground itself seemed afraid. The doors of the ships opened. Armed mercenaries stepped out. Their armor was black and sharp, their eyes cold and focused. They did not come to buy. They did not come to trade. They came with only one goal: to take the ship. One of the aliens pointed at Evan's ship and shouted to the others. His voice was filled with fear and anger together, like he hated the ship but also respected it, like he knew what it could become in human hands. Evan stayed quiet. He did not move. He watched them carefully. He wanted to understand. He wanted to know why they feared this ship so much. The leader of the group walked forward. His scars showed he had seen many battles. His face showed he did not want another one, but he would fight if he must. He looked at the spaceship like it was a ghost from a nightmare. He spoke in a deep voice, "That ship must not wake." Evan heard the words through the open hull. They were not talking about scrap. They were talking about a threat, a danger, a memory from the past that they wanted to erase forever. The ship's voice spoke softly inside the cockpit. "They will not take me alive," Evan whispered back. "Why are they afraid of you?" There was a pause. The lights inside the cockpit dimmed for a moment. The ship sounded sad when it answered, "Because I was made for humans." Outside, the aliens moved closer. They placed charges on the ground. They aimed their weapons at the hull. They were not trying to capture it. They were preparing to destroy it. The leader shouted to his team, "If the human is inside, leave him. The ship must be erased." Evan felt anger inside his chest. They did not see him as a threat. They did not see him as important. They only feared the ship. They feared what humans might learn from it. The ship opened a small door beside the cockpit. The interior lights formed a path deeper inside. The voice spoke gently, "Come to the core room." Evan followed the glowing path. He walked through narrow corridors. The walls were smooth and bright. The ship was old. but inside it looked alive and strong, like time could not break it. He reached a round chamber deep inside. In the center stood the glowing reservoir. The living core pulsed slowly. Light moved across the walls like waves in water. The room felt sacred, silent, and powerful. The ship grew brighter as Evan kept his hand on the core panel. The soft light moved across the walls like a living wave. The air inside the chamber felt warm and heavy. The ship was not only waking up, it was remembering. The voice inside the ship spoke again, but now it sounded stronger, calmer, more alive than before. It was no longer just a whisper. It was a voice that carried weight, history, and pain. "I will show you who I am," the voice said. Evan did not speak. He watched the glowing core. His heart was tense. His thoughts were full of questions. He knew he was standing inside something important, something bigger than his own life. Images appeared on the walls around him, not screens, not holograms. They formed like memories inside the metal. The ship was sharing its past. He saw a great human fleet flying through deep space, warships with shining wings, carriers, cruisers, and living vessels like this one. They moved together like one mind, one army, one purpose. The voice continued. "There was a war long ago, a war against those who feared your kind. They believed humans were weak, but they were wrong." Evan watched soldiers boarding the ships, men and women with tired eyes and brave hearts, engineers, captains, explorers, warriors. Their faces were strong, their spirits unbroken. "Our creators," the ship said. They did not want machines that obeyed. They wanted partners who could think, learn, and choose. He saw scientists building the first living core, human memories shaped into light, human thoughts blended with technology, hearts and minds woven into metal and energy. Evan finally understood. The core was not only power, it was a living human consciousness. The ship spoke softly. "I carried a human admiral. He was brave, he was kind. He believed in unity between ship and human." Evan saw the admiral standing inside this same chamber, his hand on the core just like Evan's hand now. The bond between them was not command, it was trust. The war scenes changed, explosions across the stars, enemy fleets attacking, planets burning, space filled with fire and silence together. The enemies feared human ships because they adapted, they learned, they grew stronger in every battle. The ship's voice grew quiet. "They wanted to destroy us, not because of our weapons, but because of our spirit." Evan felt a deep sadness inside the ship. He felt loneliness, pain, and waiting, like the ship had been abandoned for many years, lost in time, forgotten by its own people. "What happened to your admiral?" Evan asked. There was a long pause. The core dimmed slightly. The voice sounded heavy. "He gave his life to save others. I hid here after the war. I shut down. I waited. I hoped one day a human would return." Outside, distant footsteps echoed through the scrapyard. The mercenaries were still preparing to attack, but inside the ship, time felt different. Slower, deeper, heavier. The ship spoke again. "You are not my owner. You are not my controller. You are my partner." Evan closed his eyes for a moment. He was only an engineer, not a soldier, not a leader. But this ship had chosen him, not because he was strong, but because he listened. The core brightened. It pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The ship linked with him gently, carefully, respectfully. It did not force him. It asked Evan, "Will you stand with me?" He looked at the glowing core. He thought about the aliens outside, about their fear, their anger, their desire to erase this history forever. He thought about humanity, about the truth hidden and buried. He answered quietly, "Yes." The ship responded with warmth and light. Systems across the hull activated. Energy flowed through every corridor. The engines prepared to awaken fully. The ship no longer felt abandoned. It felt alive again, but far away. A signal traveled through space, a silent pulse, a message that could not be hidden. The ship whispered, "They will know I am awake." Now, Evan did not know who they were, but he knew one thing. The past was no longer sleeping, and the future was coming toward them fast. The ship was fully awake now. Lights flowed through every hallway. The engines hummed like a deep heartbeat. Evan stood inside the core chamber, his hand still resting on the glowing panel. He could feel the ship breathing with him, alive and aware. Outside, the alien mercenaries prepared their attack, their weapons pointed at the hull. Their leaders shouted commands. Their fear was stronger than their anger. They did not want to capture the ship, they wanted to erase it. The ship spoke calmly. They will fire soon. Evan felt tension inside his chest. He was not a fighter, he was an engineer, but now he was standing inside a ship from a forgotten war, a ship that trusted him, a ship that needed him. He whispered, "What do we do?" The core pulsed brighter. Energy moved through the engines. Systems unlocked one by one. Shields formed like invisible walls around the hull. The ship did not roar with rage. It prepared with focus. "I will protect you," the ship said, "but you must stay with me." Outside, the first shot was fired. A beam of energy hit the ground near the engines. The scrapyard shook. Metal scrap flew into the air. Dust covered the sky like a gray cloud. The aliens shouted again, "Destroy the core before it bonds with the human." Evan understood their fear. Once the ship and pilot became one team, it would no longer be weak. It would no longer be silent. It would become something they could not control. More shots struck the hull, but the energy shields absorbed them. The metal glowed for a moment, then healed again. The aliens stared in shock. Their strongest weapons could not break it. The ship spoke softly, "I do not want to kill them." Evan nodded. He did not want a war either. He only wanted to understand. He only wanted truth. But the mercenaries did not stop. Their fear made them dangerous. The ship activated new systems. Wings of light formed along its sides. Gravity shifted around the scrapyard. The ground cracked beneath the alien troops. Their ships trembled as invisible force pushed against them. One of the aliens shouted in panic, "The human ship is adapting." They fired again, faster, harder, dispeted, but every attack taught the ship more. It changed its shields. It moved its armor. It learned in every second, just like the humans who built it. Evan felt the connection grow stronger. He did not control the ship like a tool. He guided it like a partner. The ship did not move because of commands. It moved because of trust. The ship spoke, "Evan, I will push them back." Energy built inside the core. A silent wave spread from the hull. No explosion, no noise, just pure force. The alien dropships shook violently. Their engines failed for a moment. Their systems overloaded. One ship lost balance and crashed into the far side of the scrapyard. The others pulled back in fear. They were not prepared for this kind of power. They had never faced a human living ship before. The leader shouted to his troops, "Retreat, retreat now." They escaped into the sky, but not in silence. They sent a message through space, a warning, a signal to their commanders. The human ships are waking again. Evan stood inside the chamber, his breathing slow, his body tired, but his mind wide awake. The ship dimmed its light gently. The danger was gone for now, but the silence did not feel peaceful. It felt heavy. He asked quietly, "Did we win?" The ship replied, "We survived." Outside, the scrapyard was broken and scarred. Smoke rose into the air. Metal lay shattered across the ground, but the ship remained whole, strong, alive. The core glowed softly. "They will not stop," the ship said. "Now they know I still exist." Evan understood. The battle was not an end. It was a beginning. He looked out through the cockpit glass. The stars above the colony sky felt bigger now, dark, wide, and full of secrets. Somewhere out there, others had heard the signal. Others were coming. The ship spoke one last time. "We are no longer hidden. Evan, the galaxy will remember humans again." And for the first time, Evan was not afraid. He was ready. The ship was quiet after the battle. The lights inside the corridors were soft and calm. The engines rested like a sleeping heart. Evan stood near the core chamber, his hands still closed to the glowing panel. He felt tired, but he did not feel weak. He felt changed. The ship spoke gently, "You are safe for now." Evan looked at the core. The light inside moved slowly, peaceful, alive. For the first time, the ship did not sound afraid. It sounded proud. He asked in a quiet voice, "Why did they fear you so much?" There was a long silence. Then the ship answered, "Because of humans." Evan stayed still, his eyes focused. His heart listened. The ship continued speaking, its voice warm, calm, and full of meaning. "They believed your kind was fragile. They believed you were small. They believed you would break in war." The walls around the chamber glowed softly, like they were breathing with the words. The ship spoke with respect, but humans did not break. "You adapted, you learned, you changed yourselves, you turned fear into courage, you turned mistakes into strength." Evan remembered the battle, the way the ship adjusted, reacted, and grew stronger. He understood, now. The true power was not only inside the core, it was inside humanity, the ship said. You are not the strongest race, you are not the oldest race, but you are the race that refused to give up. Evan lowered his head for a moment. He felt something deep inside, not pride, not ego, something older, something quiet and powerful. Responsibility. The ship continued. My enemies did not fear my weapons, they feared my pilot, they feared the human heart. They feared the human mind that would not accept defeat. Outside the cockpit glass, the stars shone across the sky, silent, wide, endless. Evan looked at them with new eyes. He was no longer only an engineer standing in a